Hello everyone, Steve Blair 2010 here with episode 7 of Tea Time with Steve. This episode's featured tea is blueberry and pomegranate. It's a white tea from Lipton. And it has a pretty interesting flavor and aroma to it. It has a lot of additional ingredients to it besides the blueberry and pomegranate. I feel like that it should be called more of a mixed fruit tea than a blueberry and pomegranate, but it's still really good. It's a white tea from Lipton. It's available at any store like Walmart, so I recommend getting that. It's pretty good. This episode is going to be about movies and shows, or just generally filmmaking. I find that as a video maker myself, I appreciate the movies and shows in a different manner than I did before I started my channel. By that I mean I'll notice these camera or editing tricks in these films, and I'll be able to see that and say, you know, I see what you did there. And to me, I don't know, I guess it's just because video editing is my hobby. I appreciate seeing that, you know, and being able to appreciate what they do just to actually make the film and not just the story or the characters or what have you. And that's not to say I don't appreciate that, because I still do. I'm just saying it gives kind of a different dimension to it that I personally enjoy. I can't speak for other video editors, but to me, it's something I enjoy. Moving on to genres, I would say that comedy is my favorite genre in a movie or show. But I've noticed in recent years I've been watching less and less comedy movies because for the most part, there are a few exceptions, but for the most part in recent years, comedy movies have just been trying to be more edgy and raunchy than the last. I'm not sure if you've noticed this, but it's something that I've noticed. And again, there are some exceptions to that, but I just need some of that subtlety to my humor, and it can't just be, you know, dirty joke after dirty joke without any kind of depth to it at all. I seem to enjoy the older comedy movies more, and by older comedy movies I don't mean like older as in like from the 80s or the 70s or something like that. I'm talking about just ones that are at least 5 years old, you know, just the older ones from a few years back I tend to enjoy more, because even back then they had a little bit more of the subtlety to it that I enjoy. I'm a fan of Monty Python, and I've always enjoyed that kind of thing, because while they did have their silly skits, you know, in the show, which I can appreciate that kind of thing, they also had some kind of subtleties to their humor that I really enjoyed. That's something I enjoy seeing in all of the shows and in the movies that I watch. And it's not even just the subtleties in the comedy itself. I like to see, you know, like subtleties and just depth to the characters and everything as well. Like, a comedy movie can be great even if it has dirty jokes, if there's some depth to the characters and there's actually, you know, a meaning behind the story. Like recently, I know it seems kind of weird that I only watched this movie recently, but I did only recently watch Zombieland. And I really liked that because not only was there a lot of slapstick in it, which is good, but I noticed the characters had depth to them, and there was, you know, you could actually really relate to the characters and you could actually feel for them. For example, in the scene when they're all together in that mansion at night and Tallahassee's talking about how, you know, his puppy that he lost to zombies was actually his son, when he reveals that. I thought that was really good, and he had that mini breakdown, and you get to see him having some real emotion, and you know that there's actually something behind what he does to the zombies, you know, in terms of his violence, beyond just the comedy of it, you know, there's a reason for it. I really enjoyed that. There was actually some depth to that. And that's what I mean by that I need some subtleties in my comedy movies, not necessarily just subtleties in the humor. I do like other genres, though. I find that I like pretty much anything like fantasies and horrors and stuff. Like, I like the Saw series. I like, you know, the Lord of the Rings. I saw the first Hobbit movie. I liked it. I heard people saying bad stuff about it for some reason, but I didn't see anything wrong with it. I liked it. Can't wait for the second part of that. Action movies are great too. I really like that. But again, just like in any genre, I need to see, you know, a little bit of depth to it, though. I need to see character development. I need to see that kind of stuff, and it's not even like to a point that you'll see a lot of times on YouTube with like with all the analyzing kind of people, like Digibrony, for example. Whenever he's analyzing stuff, even though most of the time it's ponies, you'll notice he'll go a little bit farther in depth than I am right now with the way the story played out and the way the characters were in this thing. And it's not just him, it's all sorts of analyzers that'll do that kind of thing. I know I just used the wrong term there, but whatever. I'm just saying, it's not like I go that in depth with what I need, but I do like to see some of that kind of thing. I'm kind of repeating myself, but you understand what I mean. I can't just have action for the sake of action, or comedy for the sake of comedy, or guts for the sake of guts, you know, in the horror movies. I can't just have something like that just because it's that. Maybe that makes me a hipster. So be it. If it makes me a hipster, I don't want to be normal, I want to be a hipster. Thinking about movies versus shows. You know, I really don't know which would be harder to make. Because a series has its own challenges and a movie has its own challenges. I really don't know which one would be harder, because with a movie you have a lot more that you gotta do in terms of filming in one go. And you gotta have a lot more of the depth to it just because there's one thing. You know, there may be a sequel, but it's mainly just that one thing, so you gotta have a lot of that depth crammed into a couple hours. While a TV show, since they're shorter, you don't have to do as much filming, and you can kind of spread your exposition over time, but again, it has its own challenge, because if you're doing a series, then you just have to keep going and going with it and come up with new things all the time. While with a movie, you know, you just come up with one, maybe two things, because there might be one in the sequel, and maybe it's a trilogy. But most of the time, you don't see any more than that. So I really don't know which one would be harder. Maybe you're an actual movie maker or an actual TV show maker. I would really like to hear your opinions and your experiences on that. That'd be interesting to hear from somebody who's actually, you know, experienced in the field, and which one you feel is harder. Although my channel isn't very big, so I can't see many people like that watching my videos, but on the off chance there is someone like that out there watching, I'd love to hear your input. When it comes to shows, I find I used to like different stuff than I like now. Like, I used to be a Family Guy fan, but a while ago I lost respect for Seth MacFarlane, and so I stopped watching all of his shows. I'm not going to go into why I lost respect for it. It's a long story, but it happened over time. I guess I can just put it in this generality. He was way too biased in the way his comedy worked. We'll just say that. Like here, I'll put an example to it. South Park makes fun of everybody. They're an equal opportunity offender. Seth MacFarlane would just make fun of the same groups over and over. I lost interest. So, I don't know. I think I just like a wider variety in my comedy. I think his jokes got repetitive over time, especially as this series went on and got into the double digits in seasons. I don't know. I stopped watching him a while ago. It's kind of ironic considering I have so many Family Guy DVDs from back when I used to be into the show. I don't know what to do with them now. I never watch them anymore. I'm looking at a pile of them right now behind the tripod, and they're just kind of useless. They're gathering dust now. I don't know, I might sell them, but I couldn't get more than $10 for each of them because they're available in the stores still for just about the same price. I guess I'm stuck with them. I don't know. But that's besides the point. I'm going to be rambling if I keep that up. I don't know, I guess, especially, like I said earlier, especially now that I make videos, I can appreciate movies and shows as an art form like I didn't before. And that's not to say that people who don't make videos can't appreciate it in the way that I do. I'm just saying, to me personally, it makes me appreciate it a lot more now that I make them. You know, especially live action, not so much animation, because I don't do animation. And I'm not saying I don't like animation, I like animated shows and movies. I'm just saying I can't appreciate it on that level that I do live action because I do live action. I'm almost done with my tea already. Is it raining again? No, it's just wind. Alright. Looking at my backgrounds, it's making me think. I don't know what it is with the whole My Little Pony thing. I find that this show, the characters in My Little Pony, the main six and all the other characters, they have depth. There's a lot of good depth to their characters, and there's depth to the story in the episodes. and even the movie Equestria Girls, but that's already been covered in episode 4 of Tea Time with Steve. I find that everything has depth, and that's what I like. I mean, you know, it's comedy, it's good, it's my favorite genre, but at the same time, I think it has real depth. But I find other people say that it doesn't have depth, and that's the reason they don't like it. So I don't get it. I see depth where others don't. Like my girlfriend, for example, I think it might just be that she hates the brony community, but she refuses to see any depth in this show, and she's watched multiple episodes. I'm not going to say she just hates it and hasn't watched it, because she's watched it, she gave it a chance. But I guess I just see something in this show that she doesn't. There's a lot of different shows and movies I like. I find I watch more TV than I do movies. So I could say a lot more about the shows I like than the movies I like, because I don't know what it is. I watch, like I said, a lot more TV than I do movies, and it's not like it's an attention span thing. Because I could sit through a movie no problem. I really couldn't tell you what it is, to be honest with you. I guess it's because TV is more readily accessible. So, you know, just sit down and turn on the TV rather than buying a DVD or something like that. Okay, here's something specific. Why did Futurama have to end completely again? I really like that show. I don't know, you know what's weird is I really like the show, but I haven't even seen more than like 2 episodes out of the last 2 seasons of the show. I don't know. It's like I say I watch a lot of TV, but I guess it's because of my work schedule and hanging out with my girlfriend that I just haven't been able to watch much of the new episodes of the shows that I like. Because I'm way behind on Futurama, way behind on South Park, and on Touch.0, and on all those shows that I really like. I haven't seen like anything recently of those. And I want to, I just never find myself watching them. I don't know. Here's a topic for the comments. What's your favorite show or movie, your favorite genre? What are the things you appreciate most about movies and shows? Just tell me all sorts of stuff about movies and shows in the comments. This has been Steve Blair 2010, and I'll see you next time I have an idea.